We are in a conflict between the debt-based system of the West and the resource-based system of the East and the South and the BRICS. Paper assets are about to go back to their real value. Okay, I think the paper shuffling is 30 or 32% of the U.S. economy. And frankly, shuffling pieces of paper adds nothing to any economy. We need to go back to a real economy based on real production and real value. And we're going to. Okay.
Bob Moriarty is the founder of 321 Gold and 321 Energy, online platforms where the highly decorated former U.S. Marine pilot and his wife share their insights on the natural resources sector. Bob has been forecasting a significant stock market crash in the United States in recent months. Last August, he predicted that the S&P 500 and other U.S. stock market indexes had peaked and that the initial phases of the crash would begin this year. According to Moriarty, the current state of the U.S. economy, the unfolding crisis in the banking sector, and the Federal Reserve's aggressive measures to curb inflation, regardless of the impact on citizens, will set off a series of events leading to a substantial and prolonged stock market downturn. In his latest interview with Andy Millette on the Natural Resource Stocks YouTube channel, Bob gives even more alarming and dire predictions about the U.S. economy and heightening geopolitical tensions worldwide. He suggests that escalating geopolitical tensions could rapidly lead to the complete collapse of the global monetary system. Bob believes that the Israel-Hamas conflict will further polarize countries in the West and East and could even mark the beginning of World War III. As the situation escalates, the likelihood of a global conflict increases, which would undoubtedly have severe consequences for global financial markets. Bob also expresses doubt that the West would emerge victorious in such a scenario. He argues that while the West relies on a failing debt-based system, countries in the East, led by China, recognize the danger and are proactively transitioning to a more sustainable resource-based system. This is why Bob is confident that precious metals like gold and silver will become even more valuable as events unfold. We will present clips from Bob Moriarty's interview. Please share and like this video. Also, be sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications, and leave your comments and observations below. Thank you, and enjoy the video.
There was a very interesting report coming out of Japan, the fifth largest bank, and I would not like to insult myself by trying to pronounce it because there's no way I could do that. But the fifth largest bank in Japan publicly announced that they were going to sell $63 billion worth of government bonds between now and March. And that was a bizarre thing to say because, first of all, it's going to make every other bank in Japan front run them. And second of all, we're getting a big hit in interest rates and inflation in the United States. That is pulling the plug on the cesspool, and it is going to get ugly. We know the U.S. banks are hundreds of billions of dollars in losses, but they've been able to hide it with the term loan facility from the Fed. So the Fed says, look, if you got $100 million worth of bonds that are only worth $60 million now, we will pretend it's really worth $100 million. It will front run you the money. Well, that's all well and good, but it doesn't change the fact that when the interest rates rise as fast as they did in the last 2 years, somebody's going to get hurt severely. So in March of last year, when they had 3 or 4 banks crash at the same time, the Fed stepped in and backstopped banks in the United States. But these guys are all sitting on hundreds of billions of dollars in losses that they're going to have to take at some point. Well, they don't have that situation in Japan, and Japan actually has to write off their losses. So this literally is the start of flushing the toilet. There are 360 or something like that banks in the United States are underwater, and at some point they're going to go under. There are so many things happening that are dangerous to the dollar that at some point it's going to be obvious to everybody. China just sold $53 billion in treasuries, and they've been unloading treasuries for 2 years. And either in the G7, I think it was G7 or the Peace Conference in Switzerland, the United States agreed to allow the EU to steal $50 billion in interest on holdings of Russia. And candidly, that's stealing. Okay. I don't care how you term it. I don't care why you term it. That's stealing. And to steal $300 billion in total, and then the interest from that to feed the military industrial complex and the most corrupt country in Europe, Ukraine, is absolutely bizarre to me. So the United States has just said, we're going to steal from you if we can get away with it. Now, I'll give you one better, because I don't care how current you are. There are things happening that are so scary that you cannot possibly keep up. What did the Supreme Court just say about misinformation? They got to finish their term by 30th. Okay, so they just came out today and said, if the government wants to censor disinformation, they can. Now, I'll ask you a simple question. I always ask simple questions. Ordinary people can answer. Who is the biggest source of disinformation in the world?
The U.S. government.
Thank you.
It's no news that the general state of affairs in the US, and pretty much elsewhere in the world, is quite unpalatable, to say the least. Our systems are collapsing rapidly, and our governments could not care less. It would seem they are more interested in obeying organizations like the World Economic Forum and helping them achieve their dastardly aims for the world. During the interview with Millette, Bob emphasizes the importance of what's happening in Gaza, stressing that the US government has to intervene to bring things under control before the entire globe is set ablaze. Whatever lies ahead for the global populace and economy, Bob is certain that people will find safety and shelter in precious metals and other tangible resources, as he believes the world is finally moving on from a debt-based system to a more sustainable resource-based system. Let's get back to the video.
Israel invades Lebanon and Hezbollah attacks Israel with 100,000 to 150,000 rockets and missiles. We will have nuclear war. Israel is begging to nuke Lebanon, and they are begging to nuke Syria, and they are begging to nuke Iran. And of course, if they do that, Egypt will come in, Turkey will come in, Russia will come in, China will come in. And I wish someone would get on the phone with Bibi and make a deal with it. And we could stop this problem in one phone call. Hello, Bibi, we're going to let you drop the first nuke, okay? But when you do, we're going to flatten Israel with the second. The strange thing is the leadership, and I use the term in the loosest form, the leadership in Israel is totally insane right now. They are threatening World War III. And they went into Lebanon in 2006. Hezbollah kicked their ass. You didn't read about it in the mainstream media in the West because nobody reported it. But Hezbollah threw Israel out of Lebanon in 2006. Now, again, a semi-trick question. Bibi Netanyahu defined the purpose of the invasion in Gaza to eliminate Hamas. Have they succeeded?
No.
Absolutely not. If you ran a campaign for recruiting Hamas, you would do it exactly the way Bibi Netanyahu just did it. We are in a conflict between the debt-based system of the West and the resource-based system of the East and the South and the BRICS. Paper assets are about to go back to their real value. Okay. I think the paper shuffling is 30 or 32% of the U.S. economy. And frankly, shuffling pieces of paper adds nothing to any economy. We need to go back to a real economy based on real production and real value. And we're going to, okay? But right now, given the choice between holding shares in a resource company or holding a T-bill, it's like no question at all. You could sniff the T-bill and realize somebody used it as toilet paper. Resources are important, and we need resources, and we don't need T-bills. I'll give you a number. It's really scary. You're going to enjoy this.
Please.
How's your math?
Poor, but give it to me anyways.
Okay. We are about 34 trillion in debt. Nice. And we have a nice number. We have about 340 million Americans. How much debt is there per American?
I don't know. But tell me.
Well, if you put the numbers up, because you got 34 on the top and 34 on the bottom, all you have to do is rid of the zero. We got $1 million in debt per American.
I am screwed.
So actually, I was talking to the head of the Treasury today, and he knew I was going to talk to you, and he wants your check for $1 million tomorrow.
Bob Moriarty believes silver will outperform gold as investors seek safer alternatives during the anticipated economic collapse. However, the veteran investor remains grounded, focusing less on price surges and unrealistic targets. He urges Americans to prepare for the impending challenges facing the U.S. economy, the dollar, and potentially the global economy. Regardless of how one views the situation, it is clear that difficult times lie ahead, and we must be well prepared to navigate through them successfully. He also believes that the world will eventually return to the gold standard, with all currencies, including the US dollar, valued in terms of gold. He asserts that the influential individuals who currently benefit, making trillions of dollars annually from the existing fiat system, will resist this change. However, he believes that when a drastic measure becomes absolutely necessary, gold will be seen as the solution to stabilize the global economy. What are your thoughts on Bob Moriarty's interview and his grave warnings for Americans? Please share your comments and observations in the section below. Additionally, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications for more content like this. Thank you for watching.